Welcome to the Jeff Fitzgerald Coaches Show, brought to you by Barry Collins and CFM Enterprises. Coach, you went into Union Parish, and as we're getting to Union Parish, radio crew, Des and I and all, we walk in and, man, they're feeding us and they're friendly. They've got new facilities. The school looks great. The press box looks great. And, man, they came to beat you. They came to beat these Ouachita Lions.
You know, they're a very good football team, and it feels like the land of the Giants when you get up there. Everybody is enormous. And so our little old guys competed and got after it and had some things go our way in the course of the game that really, really helped. And, you know, we'll look at that here in a little bit, but they are a very, very talented physical football team. And Coach Spatafor does a tremendous job with his guys. And you know one thing about when you play Coach Spatafor's team, they're going to be ready to play, and they're going to bring everything they got.
Well, not only was he ready to play, he was ready to play with an entirely new offense. People were saying, what happened to Ouachita? Why was Ouachita just not ready? I'm like, well, Ouachita hadn't even seen this offense. Explain that.
You know, we hadn't prepared for it throughout the week, and then on the other side of it is, man, they were bigger than us, and so they were able to move us out of the way a little bit.
Yes, they were.
And you know, normally I like to stand behind the opponent offense to get that rear view of seeing their blocking schemes, how we're fitting according to the way that they're blocking and doing some things. And I stood back there and I couldn't see our guys at all. I mean, we just literally disappeared. But so I had to stand on the other side, and man, they just swallowed us up. They literally swallowed us up. But our guys kept fighting, kept plugging, and found a way.
They absolutely did. Post game, what were the guys saying? What was the thought on the bus ride home? You know, what were they saying about those Union Parish farmers?
Man, they knew that. You know, we had talked all week about how good a program that they are.
Oh, but they're 3A. You know, they're not going to compete.
No, there wasn't a lot of that going on. Not with our guys. You know, and they knew you could throw classification out the window on this one because they're year in and year out a very successful program that makes deep runs in the playoffs, if not playing for the state championship. And so they knew that they were a very tough program. But the bus ride home, they were very excited and man, thrilled, but exhausted at the same time.
Well, you leave that game 2-2, leveled up on the season. Let's take a look at some of the highlights.
You know, when we look back on it, we had a lot of things go our way in the course of the game, and our guys found a way to make some plays and make some things happen. And you know, they drive it down the field right off the bat, out of the eye, like we talked about. You know, being in different formations, running the veer, and then the thing about the veer that makes it very difficult, it's assignment football, and if you're not used to playing that assignment football and you haven't faced it all year, you may or may not know who you're assigned to. But they suck you in on that run, and all of a sudden they hit you with a pass, and your free safety's biting up, everybody's biting up and playing that run. And, you know, and so right off the bat, man, first drive of the game, 7th play of the game, they hit us with a little play action, boot, hit the tight end across the middle, and we're able to, you see us right here, we're able to punch that ball out right there, and then had a little trouble scooping it up, but we did recover it and get decent field position out of it.
Punching and stripping the ball really went in Ouachita's favor this
week.
Week. 3 turnovers. 3 of the 5 came from that.
You know, the next thing that we had happen was they were coming out of their end zone, and we were able to, this was actually, I believe Carl Glass actually stripped it out and then comes around with it for a score. He stripped it and scored with it. So that was good to see him do that. And the thing about it, the offense that they were running, once you get behind the chains, it is very, very difficult to catch up. And Jalen Kincaid came up with a couple of big interceptions. You can see him here with an interception.
It looked like he wanted that ball more than the receiver. He was in a better position, and it's like he went up for that ball.
He did. He made 2 really really, really big plays. And then at the end of the game, and I'm just kind of looking at them in, offensively, defensively, kicking game. But at the end of the game, man, he comes up with a game clincher.
In the end zone.
In the end zone. And great position, high point. You can see, man, we work on high point all the time. And you can see him right here go up and high point that ball. And, when you look at that clock, there's 1:14 left. Man, that sealed the victory right there. And so that was really awesome. Offensively, we struggled a little bit offensively throughout the course of the game. Man, they are really, really good defensively. And
they're so big, especially on the D-line.
We had a very tough time of blocking them, but we had some guys, we were able to throw the ball against them pretty well, and Jacoby Connor came up with some big catches. That's him on a corner route there. Zach makes a great shot into the hole. And then, obviously, Xavier is going to get loose at some point. And this was just a couple of plays later off the big pass where he breaks it in for a touchdown on a run. And then, we only had 21 points. And so we scored one defensively and then two offensively, one off a rushing touchdown, the other one off of a pass. And DJ Jacobs, who had actually went out early in the game with a little injury, and made a great catch. Zach makes a great throw, keeps it away from the defender here, and
yeah, he threw it to where only DJ could catch that.
That's right, and that was big. That was big. But I think looking back on it, the biggest difference in the game outside of the turnovers was our kicking game. We had some great returns on the kick return and punt returns. Xavier didn't have very many yards rushing throughout the course of the game, but he had 124 yards of return yards. And that just, man, when you're sitting there with short field position
right
all night, that makes a big difference. And so we had some really, really good return yardage, and I'm just going to roll through these because it's not very often that, man, it's like every time. And this is Kale on a big return. They thought, well, we'll keep it.
They thought he was going to fair catch, like generally you do in that situation.
Yeah. And depending on how far away, how low the kick and everything, I let the kids, make that decision. If it's a real high one, a sky kick, then we always fair catch that. A low kick, man, get it and get what you can get up the sideline. And, they thought, well, we'll just kick it, get my tongue tied. They thought we'll just kick it away from Xavier. Well, they kick it to Kale, and we still get to the 50-yard line. So that was really big. But I think some of the biggest yardage came off of punt returns. And normally, Jalen Kincaid and DJ Jacobs are our kick returner or our punt returners.
But it was DJ and Sean.
Trying to, you try to spell Xavier a little bit so he's not on everything. And here he is on a big punt return, and DJ goes out of the game for a couple of quarters, and Xavier comes in, and man, they kick it right to him.
Yep.
I'm thinking, well, maybe at some point they won't, but I'm not sure they were really trying to, but it just kept going
right to him.
Just kept going right to him, and here he is right before the half, and with a big return, and man, he is. If you just look, he is just dangerous. Dangerous.
Yeah, that punter got him, and that one I'm sure he got.
Their punter
made fun of for it.
Is their quarterback, their
right.
punter, their punt returner, their kick returner.
And he paid for that one.
He did, and he's a dang good player. He is a dang good player. And that's another good return here.
It was kind of refreshing to see when they get tackled, to see a cloud of dust, pop up, because it's a grass field. I mean, we're not used to that anymore.
We're not, and we play a couple of games on grass this year, this being one of them, and then going up to Bastrop is another grass game, and then we played one later on in the year down at Alexandria. So, but we had some things really go our way in the kicking game, and then obviously with turnovers that helped us tremendously. And when you're playing with that short field, you're not going to have as many offensive yards, but they did a tremendous job of stopping our run. But our guys stepped up and were able to provide some protection, and we made some good throws and catches in the passing game.
Well, you get the W out of it. You go to 2-2 on the season, and we'll take a look at those Bastrop Rams on the other side. This Coaches Show is being brought to you by Batteries and Bulbs. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the Jeff Fitzgerald Coaches Show, brought to you by 3B Outdoors. Coach, I don't know of any other way to put it than this. You are 2-2, getting ready for game number 5. When we do the post-game show, your season, your regular season, is half over.
That's exactly right. And, you know, we started early this year with the official scrimmage, and so we actually got to start basically 2 weeks earlier than normal with a competition. You know, we got to start a week early in practice, but 2 weeks early with a competition, because as soon as we could put pads on,
right.
You know, we were scrimmaging in that official scrimmage, and unfortunately, it was against the Bastrop Rams, and they took it to us pretty good. And you know, but at that point in time, we were not the football team that we are now, and our guys have done nothing but gain confidence in one another throughout the course of the time. And we've been talking about stole it from West Virginia. I saw that they were kind of in the middle of a struggle, and they had a little deal, hashtag trust the climb. And so we've kind of adopted that of just trust the climb, and knowing that it's a process. And you know, coming into it, we left that scrimmage feeling like we were way better than we performed.
Okay.
And so it showed throughout the course of the season that we've gotten better every week, and that we're not that same football team that was there on that day. You know, and obviously they've gotten a lot better. I mean, they're 4-0. They're a powerful football team that's very explosive, can make the big play at any moment, and then defensively has got the speed to swarm you. They do have a few young guys on the field, so you know, we're hoping. I believe they're playing a couple of freshmen, so we're hoping to maybe exploit that a little bit. But they are very, very good players. Probably the biggest dude on the field is a freshman. He's a big defensive tackle. But they're going to line up a lot like we are offensively. They play with that H back. They play with the tight end H. So we're very, very similar, running inside zone, outside zone, power read, things like that. So we're very similar in that regard. Their passing game, they like the little screens, and they like to throw
screens plus their speed.
Yes, and you know, they've got little number 6 is a heck of a receiver. They move him around all over the place. They'll put him as an outside receiver. They'll put him as a number 2 receiver, a number 3 receiver. They'll motion him. They try to get him the ball any way that they can. And he is very, very dangerous when he has the ball in his hands. He is extremely fast and shifty. Reminds me a lot of Chon Xavier. You know, if Chon Xavier were playing that receiver position. And then defensively, they're a 4-man front, going to slide in and out of a 4-2-5, 4-3 look, and you know, and do a really good job of running that football and playing hard.
Well, we saw the highlights earlier of how the Lions did against Union Parish, and one of the key victories there were special teams. Return, and for the first time, your kicker put it into the end zone for a touchback, which, you know, starts that team on the 20. So much better than sweating out that 30, 35, 40-yard, you know, return. How is Bastrop special teams? Have you seen enough to know how they are?
They're solid in their special teams. I mean, they, you know.
I was looking for weakness here, and you're not helping me.
No, they're not helping us. They're not helping us at all. They're a very well coached football team, and always have been and always will be. But then they do a really good job in all 3 phases of the game, and I mean, they've got some guys with the amount of speed that they have, makes their return game very scary, and so you know, they do a good job in all 3 phases of the game.
I'll go back to the Evangel game where they defeated Evangel soundly.
35-25, I believe, something like that.
And West Monroe, you know, also played that. And I'm trying to compare the two. Bastrop seems to be, I mean, as solid as any 5A club out there.
Absolutely. They're a very, very good football team. I mean, I would say probably the most talented team in North Louisiana. They're not the biggest team. I believe we played the biggest team last Friday night for sure. But they are very, very talented and a very well coached, very good football program.
Real quick, let's go over your pregame. Is it going to be like you did last week against Union? As far as you're going to where you eat, where do you ride? Do you know?
No,
you
we're
didn't
going-
even go into the locker room at halftime.
No, it was too far to walk up
That's
that
what I
hill.
figured.
That hill was brutal behind their stadium. But we're going to eat. We're going to eat at the house and prepare and dress and everything, and then we'll show up in time.
Just Yellowhound it up there.
Yep, yeah. I mean, you're looking at 30-minute ride, and so we'll get up there and walk straight out on the field and stretch and get after it.
Here we are in October. We know in September they have the water breaks in every half there. What do you do in October? You know, it's 97 degrees all week long, and how are they going to extend that, or how do you keep your guys well cared for? Without burning a timeout.
Well, that's the trick. You hope that there maybe is a timeout throughout the course of the game, and then whenever the guys are on the sideline, we've got the big sideline fans that are cooling, that are blowing that cool mist on them, and then at the same time, we have a tremendous athletic training staff, and Phil Shaw and his crew they do a tremendous job of keeping us hydrated on the sideline, and so sideline behavior is going to be extremely, extremely important this week coming into this game, and then you got to rely on and lean back on your your off-season conditioning and then your week of prep of staying hydrated and taking care of your body throughout the course of the week.
And you're still practicing on grass.
Absolutely.
All right, Coach. Well, good luck as you get ready for the big game tonight.
Thank you.
All right, you've been tuned in to the Jeff Fitzgerald pregame coaches show. It is being brought to you by Slagle McGuffey Remax Realtor. We'll be right back.